Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to In5D Radio's Cosmic Awakening Show, where we are serving this galaxy and beyond. Hey, my name is Michelle Walling, and I'm with N5D.com, and our goal is to reach as many people as possible with a database of articles, videos, and radio shows that will help aid you in your spiritual awakening. At the Cosmic Awakening Show, we encourage you to question everything. And I'd like to give a very special thanks to my sponsor, Greg Prescott at N5D.com, which is the world's hottest esoteric, metaphysical, and spiritual database on the Internet. And Greg is also the webmaster for our sister site, BodyMindSoulSpirit.com. And I also have a website called CosmicStarseeds.com, where you can find all of the articles I've written and all of my radio shows. And you can find out about booking a holistic life coach session with me at michellewalling.com. You can also find every episode of the Cosmic Awakening Show on N5D's iTunes page. Just go to iTunes and type in N5D, and you will find all of N5D Radio's shows on that page, so you can listen to them on your phone or your tablet. And you may want to check out our new video series, which is called N5D Network, and that is it's like a television YouTube page, and you can find that on N5D YouTube page, and you can find them also on my personal YouTube page. And I created my website, howtoexitthematrix.com, for more of the esoteric studies of the paranormal and quantum aspects of our reality. I'd like to give a special shout out to all of my Facebook friends out there and all of the Facebook groups that I post in, and of course, way out in the cosmos to our cosmic family listening tonight. Now, this week's topic is neutralizing ET implants, and our guest tonight is Louisa Love. And if you would like to ask a question to either one of us after the first hour of the show, so after hour one, we will be taking your call. What you want to do is you want to call in to 646-716-8890, and you'll want to press 1 to put your hand up in the queue so I know that you're not just listening and that you have a question or a comment. Louisa Love is a fully qualified T.A.S.K. Kinesiologist. She's an advanced Theta Healing Practitioner. She's an EFT practitioner and bush flower remedy and Reiki practitioner. And she specializes in emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being, food intolerance testing, nutrition, and digestive disorders. But what makes things even more interesting on this Cosmic Awakening show is that Louisa is a great alien abductee and has learned all about implants she was given and how to neutralize them. So she had to learn the hard way. Louisa has 2 articles published on my website, howtoexitthematrix.com, correlating with this show. The first one is called 20 Signs of Implantation, and the second one is called 32 Ways of Neutralizing Implants. So if you'd like to read those in full, they're chock full of information. Go to howtoexitthematrix.com and go to the home page and scroll down, and you'll see the most recent posts from Louisa. Now, you can also use the search button on any one of our websites. Just type in 1 or 2 keywords, and you should be able to pull up. Like in this case, you could type in Louisa, and her articles would come up on how to exit the matrix. So let's get right into this discussion. This is a very important topic for our listeners tonight. And Louisa, welcome to the Cosmic Awakening Show.
Hi there. Good evening.
Oh, you have such a lovely voice. You're coming to us all the way from London, England. That is so awesome how we can connect through Skype.
I know. Actually, I'm not in London. I know it says that on my Skype. I'm actually in Somerset, and it's very beautiful, yes, English countryside. But yes, very, very grateful to be here. This is such an important topic, and yeah.
Now, Somerset, is that anywhere by Stonehenge or?
Actually, very close to Stonehenge. I'm about a 50-minute drive from Stonehenge, and about 40 minutes from Glastonbury, from Nepal.
Oh, yes, I have a friend that lives in Glastonbury. And what do you think about Stonehenge? Do you think that right now that it has, when you go there, do you get like really good energy from it, or do you get something different?
Do you know what's really strange? I have never been to Stonehenge. I have been in this country I've lived here now 13 years. I've driven past Stonehenge many, many times, but I have never gone. And I thought to myself the other day, that is really strange, because I've been to Glastonbury and I've been to the Tor and the Chalicewell Gardens so many times, but Stonehenge, I just drive past. So I don't know if that, gives you your answer.
Well, it kind of does, because, everything happens for a reason. And I do have some friends that have been to Stonehenge and have done, some rituals and things like that. But I'm not so sure who's in charge of Stonehenge right now. So it might be a good thing that you haven't gone, actually. But maybe one day you'll get over there and be able to tell me what it feels like to you, because everybody's got, their own way of feeling energies. So anyway, I'm here in Sarasota, Florida. And so anyway, being over in England and me being in Florida in the United States, it's just amazing how we can come together. And I gave a brief introduction for you to our guest tonight, and I would like to hear, though, a little bit more about your background, because you didn't just start helping people to neutralize their implants from a long time ago. That's kind of like a taboo thing that you don't really tell anybody if you want to have a serious type practice, and you don't really have a lot about it on your website, and that's completely understandable. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you talk all about the start, about how you found them, and things like that. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and take it from the top and give us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I think I'd like to start at the beginning, really, because that's going to probably give us more of an understanding. It's all quite new, actually. Mm-hmm. So, coming into this life, I chose quite a challenging bloodline, as most of us, I think, starseeds have. And, in my family, heavily infested with Christian belief systems, and on top of that, also my paternal grandfather on my mother's side, he's a pedophile. So I was sexually abused when I was younger, and so was all of my cousins and the women in my family, and this all has, this all ties into what's going to happen later. So I grew up and in this environment, and also my mother and I had a very difficult relationship. There was a lot of emotional abuse, and really I grew up feeling quite lonely and isolated, and not like I ever really belonged. And then I was also constantly placed on antibiotics. So every time I had a cough or a cold, we were rushed off to the doctors, and, we were placed on antibiotics. And I always had tummy issues, tummy aches, issues with my stomach. And then later on, in my mid-teens, there were suicide attempts, and it just kind of went downhill. And around age 18, 19, I started using drugs as the means to escape. And, so the story goes. Mm-hmm. And then...
Been there?
Yeah, well, there we go. And then at age 25, I met my ex-husband. And a year later, my body just collapsed and crashed. And I guess at that point, what had happened in my gut from all the antibiotics and all the drugs and all the stress, by not confronting any of my childhood issues, my body just collapsed. And the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. I just didn't know what to do. I went to homeopaths. I tried acupuncture, and nothing quite worked. And I realized at that point that there was something seriously wrong with my gut, because if I ate certain foods, my symptoms would get worse. I lived in a state of brain fog and exhaustion for 2 years, and mainly I was in bed, and I had depression, anxiety attacks, and I just thought at that point, oh my God, my life is over. And it was incredibly challenging. And just when I hit, I'd say, rock bottom, and after a lot of prayer as well, I met someone who gave me the number of this kinesiologist, and she was really the one who changed my life, because through this kinesiology practice, I was able to heal myself. And this is what I love about kinesiology, is that it's very empowering. It's just a tool where you're shown what your body wants, whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical. And then it's up to you whether you want to make the changes in your life to change that. So I felt really empowered with this technique. And I was seeing my kinesiologist once a month, and I saw her for quite a number of years. And it was amazing, because the first 6 months we did mainly physical work. We cleared out a lot of candida. I had systemic candida. My whole body was just riddled with candida. And I couldn't believe, when my gut was balanced, how good I felt again. But I could never go back to the way it was. So I had to give up sugar and cigarettes and alcohol and all things toxic. Mm-hmm. My body just wouldn't tolerate any of it.
So those things actually accelerate the growth of candida in your gut?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that it's like that for everyone, because, of course, we're all unique. Mm-hmm. And I think my body at that point just had enough. If you think about years and years of every year just antibiotics, birth control pills, and then you think, all that trauma that wasn't really faced properly, and then drug usage, and my body was just a toxic mess. Mm-hmm. So, this was, firstly, we cleared out all the physical, but then after 6 months, the real interesting work started, because that's when we started doing mental clearing. Mm-hmm. Now, the mental clearing stuff was just huge for me. I mean, I couldn't believe, after every single session, I felt clearer and lighter and more together. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing. I'm healing. Where is this going? Because every time I'm healing, I just feel so much better. And I was so blown away by it that I had to go and study these modalities, which I did. I started studying kinesiology, and then in 2010, I was very synchronistically led to study Theta Healing. And, in between all of this, emotional freedom technique and bush flower remedies. And, yeah, it just changed my life completely. But I think around 2010, things really began to speed up for me. My ex-husband at that point, he went to prison. Mm. And for the first time, I think in many lifetimes, I was on my own.
Yeah.
With a child as well. So I've got two little children. And during this phase, I just had to do everything for myself. And I realized, my goodness, I'm actually really codependent. And I realized that I'd always been codependent in my relationships when it comes to my romantic relationships. And he came out of prison, and we tried to make things work, but the relationship had really become quite toxic. And it was at that point as well where I was doing daily healings on myself. I think this is quite important to speak about, because once a month I was having these amazing sessions with my kinesiologist, but now I was doing this work on myself, and I was really doing a lot of clearing daily. So I would use life as the teacher, and whatever happened in life during that day, I would clear at night. So I started clearing out, old resentments and old traumas and fears, and I just started facing my stuff. But, every day I was feeling clearer and lighter and better. And I kept thinking, where is this going? This is amazing. I'm just feeling better and better and stronger in myself. And I actually healed myself into this Kundalini awakening, which happened in 2013. And it happened also around a week or two just after I decided to leave my ex-husband. And I think that is very, very important, because it was me deciding at that time to step into my own masculine energy. Yeah, to birth my own masculine energy within myself. And it was like the universe said, okay, you're ready now.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a couple of questions before we go forward?
Yeah.
When you had these daily healings on yourself, you were following pretty much someone else had led you into like a daily meditation routine, and maybe a how to assert what you wanted with the universe, and then recognizing things and patterns that were coming up, and basically then facing that and transmuting that energy. So you were doing a lot of cognizant energy work. How spiritual or metaphysical was your understanding of what you were doing, as far as the whole picture, as far as like that the planet was screwed up, and that basically we'd been taken over and all that? Did you know any of that back then, or what was your level of understanding? Because I woke up in 2010, so I'm very curious.
I had no understanding.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely none.
That goes to show anybody could do this, starting out.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I mean, I was just feeling good and going with my feelings of feeling good, and I was just sort of chasing that, I guess.
Okay.
This is feeling great. I'm feeling fantastic. Wow. And I was also very heavily invested in the New Age movement.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think we have all been there.
Yeah.
For a while.
There was a lot of, I'm just going to focus on the light, and, I'm going to then just attract light, and,
Well, it worked.
Yeah, of course. And then all this conspiracy theories, I just didn't even pay any attention. I mean, it didn't even come into my radar. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know who David Icke even was. I just knew he was some crazy reptilian guy, Yeah. Honestly, that was my understanding. I had no understanding. I had no interest in extraterrestrials. Mm-hmm. I just thought, oh, okay, these people, it's just not, whatever, it's just weird stuff. And I think that is very important to know, with this particular story, because there was no ways, nothing could have prepared me, nothing, for what was to come. Because, I experienced this amazing awakening, and I experienced it in the Chalice Well Gardens in Glasgow.
Oh, my goodness. When you told me you had been to the Chalice Well Gardens, I had this flash in my head about you having an experience there, but I didn't mention it. That is amazing.
It was really powerful. I mean, I cannot even begin to describe the power of that incident, the beauty, the synchronicities. I was meditating in the middle of the gardens, and I opened my eyes. There were these two young kids, Amelia and Yasmin, 6 and 8, two little girls. And they came up to me and they said, "Hi, we see you meditating, and we'd love to raise your Kundalini." And I just looked at them and I thought, wow, okay, this is quite cosmic. I don't really know much about Kundalini. I've heard about Kundalini yoga and stuff, but I'd never done it. And I just thought, oh, this sounds really cool. And, I'd love to have a spiritual awakening. Yes, go ahead. So it's interesting, isn't it? So I gave my consent. And they started singing around me, and they started singing to all my chakras in Sanskrit as well. I mean, it's just crazy, the story. But they're real, they're on my phone, and we've met up since. And it turned out that their mother is a yogini, And, they were there for about an hour just singing around. It was a very joyful experience, actually. And then my energy just started buzzing, and I just started opening up. And it was really the next evening that I had the internal part of the awakening. That makes sense.
Yes.
So they did the kind of external, that was the external awakening. And during the internal awakening, I was shown a very powerful vision. And this vision has really kept me going through the darkest of times of what was to come. And during this vision, I'm going to just shorten it, but it was shown to me as a cartoon, and I think my higher self did that because it wanted to say to me, it's just life, don't take it too seriously. It's going to be okay. And I was shown that I still needed to face some fears and that I still had shadow work to do. And it was very powerful. I mean, it was earth-shatteringly. It felt like a force just, pinned me down and showed me this film, and then I was thrown backwards onto my bed, and I had this rush of energy. And then, I was awake for 2 days. It felt at that point, and it must have been true that I just walked through a different gateway, a different reality.
Wow.
And everything just felt incredibly cosmic, and all the colors transformed. Everything just seemed. And it was a few days later that I then experienced this extraterrestrial abduction. But at that point, I didn't realize it was an abduction, okay, because, of course, my memory was wiped. But when they put me back in my bed, they couldn't wipe that bit. So I have this memory of them saying to me that I was amazing. So, again, an ego trap.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, things start going very wrong, really wrong. I started feeling like, oh my goodness.
Hang on just a second.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of cutting out. I just want to make sure that you're grounded. Because when you raise your vibration, sometimes it can cause the Skype to get interfered. So just take a second and ground yourself, and then explain to us what these extraterrestrials look like.
Okay. Well, at this point, this point in the story, I hadn't seen them. I only heard them.
Okay.
Okay. And they sounded really metallic and robotic, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, wow, they sound just like how they do them in Hollywood.
And that's been described as some of the Zeta Reticuli sound that way.
Oh, I need to write this down.
Yeah, Zeta, Zeta Reticuli.
See, I'm still learning. But, after this experience, I started having some horrific side effects. So all of a sudden, it felt like things were crawling over my body. Dead people started attaching themselves to me. I started getting horrific nightmares at night. And, I would go to sleep, and then in the morning I'd wake up and I'd feel very heavy, incredibly heavy. And, my neck started moving by itself. I mean, really weird stuff started happening to me. And I thought, oh, my God, I am losing the plot. I'm going crazy. That's it. I've decided to leave my husband. And if I'd gone to a GP at that point, or my local doctor, they would have said, okay, well, let's get you onto some antipsychotics, of course.
Yes. They would heavily medicate you.
Of course, they would have. And I just couldn't understand what was going on. I thought, I had this incredible awakening. I've been doing such amazing work on myself. It was almost like that moment of Christ, that Christ-like moment of God, why have you forsaken me? What is going on here? And I just felt so deeply shaken and traumatized by this event because I had just no idea. And so for about 6 months, I was in a traumatized state, really, and I had to move house by myself with 2 small children. And I just did it. And all I did was I continued doing what I knew. Okay, so I continued doing the clearing, the mental clearing work. So I just continued doing the daily EFT, tapping through my feelings. I found that was very helpful. I couldn't really do techniques like Theta Healing anymore because it was just too ungrounding for me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt incredibly ungrounded at this point. So I stuck to techniques like emotional freedom technique, where I could just tap and talk and try and connect in with what was going on with me. What these implants did, and this is very important because I've noticed that it does this with clients of mine as well, it cut me off from my heart. It cut me off from my feeling center, my emotional body. Because when we don't feel, we can't heal. Because the energy can't shift, right?
That's right.
So this is why it's so incredibly important for us to connect in with our emotional body and our heart, and to be from the heart. Because when we're cut off and we can't express, we're stuck.
And that's why the alcohol, that's what I used alcohol for, to keep myself from feeling so much. I just didn't give a crap. When I was drinking alcohol, I was a different kind of happy until the next day, And and when I was younger, I used to smoke pot, and that was like organic pot back in the late 80s, early 90s. Mid to late 80s, I was in high school, and I didn't smoke so much of it in college because I couldn't afford it. But that as well was like, Calgon, take me away. I don't want to feel anything except good, So
totally.
Yeah, so people who have any kind of addiction that keeps them from feeling, even if it's hydrocodone or any kind of pain pills or Xanax or anything like that. I actually was on Xanax for several years for depression as well. So it took me a long time to get off of everything. Even didn't stop drinking totally ever, but most recently, I'd say the last year, none of these big time heavy, no whiskey, nothing like that. Glass of wine or two, and that's it. And I can't even drink beer anymore. It just does not go well with my stomach. So, yeah, it's really important message for everyone out there that, I'm not being a prude here. I'm just as cool as the rest of them. But you have to use that emotional body. That's part of the deal as a starseed, is using your emotional body to heal not only energies from this lifetime, but we're also healing other lifetimes. We're healing our soul.
And it's interesting that you were talking about addiction, because I noticed that some of these implants, they're addiction implants. I actually think that people with addiction issues do have these specific implants.
Yes, they do.
And that's exactly what it does. Again, cuts you off from that heart, cuts you off from the emotional body, and it's so, again, it's just so important to be able to grieve, to be able to express our anger, to be able to express in the moment how we feel. So important just to become human again, to break through those fears, and to really this is the journey that I'm on now, that we're on really, is to be our true selves in every moment, and not to allow our fears to limit us anymore.
Yes.
And to allow these feelings to just flow, and yes. So where was I?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I think in my last show about removing implants with Eric Rains and Lynn Williams, Eric mentioned that every single human body had etheric implants upon birth, that they were kind of implied, and they were a control system. Most of them are hooked into our chakras so they can take energy. But in your case, with the physical abduction or the remembrance of coming, being back, not the full remembrance of the abduction, but knowing that something really weird happened. Do you think that you got some actual physical implants from that?
Yeah, I did. The implants that I've been dealing with, I think they've been described by Lisa Renee. I don't know if you're familiar with, energetic synthesis as SPE, the suppressor parasite entity.
Okay.
I think that these are the same as that. So they're very parasitic in nature. And for me, I feel them in the body, and they're also half in, half out of the body.
Oh, what do you mean?
So
Sticking out of your skin?
So yeah, I can feel them on the surface of my skin, for instance.
Like right underneath the surface?
Right underneath and right above.
Oh,
so it's
my.
kind of like, so it's almost like a bubble type of energy. It's so difficult to describe, but it can also create over the head like a static energy, like white noise in the ears, and a tightening around the throat, or often it goes through the sternum into the bones, and right down into all the, through all the chakras, really. But it's in the physical body. And, yeah, it's very, very strange. I mean, really strange stuff. Weird. That's all I can say.
Well, I know that some of the etheric implants, maybe even the physical implants, there's a couple of reasons for them. One of them is so that they can actually begin to communicate with you and talk to you in your head. That's one of them is a tracking device, so they know where you're at all times. And one of them is a frequency modulator, so they can try to keep your vibration low.
Yeah, well, I think, if you put it that way, it was definitely trying to mind control and lower my vibration. But what's very, very important to note here is that they can only implant you where you've got trauma or fear.
Oh, so there already has to be a negative energy opening.
There has to be an opening for them to get in. So this is why I really want to address premature awakenings in this show, because I feel more and more people, because of the new age, are having these premature awakenings. Okay, I had a premature awakening, and people would say to me, "What do you mean premature? Because everything is divine timing." And I'm like, well, babies are born prematurely as well. Right? And when we wake up, and say we wake up into the fifth dimension, which is this beautiful dimension of enlightenment, if we wake up in this dimension, we are not operating from that frequency yet. Then we're going to be vulnerable and open to other beings, yeah? If that makes sense, once you walk through that gateway. And that's what happened to me, really. So I still had some deep traumas, and I still had stuff going on. And so these ETs, they got in there, and I was implanted. So as I started shifting through these old traumas and fears, these implants would just drop off. Oh. I wouldn't need to, send them to the light. I tried that so many times. I tried so many healers, spent thousands of dollars on top healers, and trying to get clear. But it was shown to me very synchronistically again that really this was an inside job. I need to clear the traumas and the fears within myself, and that's really the way that this stuff is going to go, and it won't come back. So it's an authentic, deep way of dealing with this, rather than having a magic wand and sitting, it's gone, because then tomorrow what's going to happen is it's going to come back again if that wound is still there.
Yes.
So yeah, they can only get in if there's still an opening. So this is also brings me back to one of my soul missions at this point, and it's becoming clearer now, is that I really want to help people to wake up in a more natural way, in a more grounded way, in a safer way. And, we don't need to wake up so quickly. Like I was I just wanted to wake up. I don't know if you were the same, but, when I was in new age, I was like, I just want to wake up. And I didn't realize, well, actually, we need to do the work first.
Oh, well, yeah. It's like you want to wake up and you want to be a healer, or you want to help people. But the problem is that you have to heal and work on yourself first, and sometimes that can take years.
That's the thing. It takes time, and there's this huge unconscious kind of collective wound where we shame the process of healing, the time that it takes.
Well, I do want to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do want to say, because it did just hit me, everybody is different. There are some people that will do a fast-track healing, and they'll be ready in 6 months. I mean, the higher the vibration raises on, the frequency raises on the planet, there's going to be some that will catch up very quickly. It won't be pretty. It will be really ugly until they get there. But there are people that could probably wake up quick. But I wanted a fast track. I wrote a book, and the book is like kindergarten crap. I didn't put it out, I never put it out there, but I have, and I had a lot of New Age stuff in it, and I found myself just repeating New Age stuff and applying it to my life and giving my opinion, and then realizing later, oh my gosh, there was so much I had to learn.
I know, and it's. I mean, as you said in the beginning of the show, I had to learn the hard way, and that's why I guess I'm here, and I really want to help others. I mean, I've got a client at the moment who's, she's going through a very traumatic awakening herself, and it's really intense. She's lost her, she can't look after her own child. She's been on antipsychotics. It's been very heavy, and I just want to be able to start helping, to help prevent this kind of thing, and also to help people who are going through it, to show them the way out of that.
Yes, and I guess I don't know everything about what happened, but the pattern I'm seeing is that you had this beautiful Kundalini awakening, your energy was moving, your chakras were wide open, and you started shining your light. But then you didn't have any training on how to control and close down those chakras. So you were just like a buffet for the astral beings. Look at all that energy! Look at all that light! And if you didn't have any, if you hadn't have healed your traumas from childhood rape and things like that, and just traumas, then that's what happens. So part of the learning process is learning how to regulate your chakras and how to protect yourself and kind of close down when you're not opened up and doing your energy work.
And also, really important is to know that we have righteous anger, and I wrote about that in that article. Because once I got my boundaries intact, then, of course, I do have the full memory of meeting those ETs in my room, because, I told them, no, go away. I swore at them. Mm-hmm. It's just really funny. But again, it was an interesting experience. I just found myself floating upwards, and I couldn't move, so I had to tell them telepathically as well. But the most extraordinary thing was the sounds of the spaceship, the sounds. It was so intense, and the remembrance in that moment of, oh my God, here we go again. Mm-hmm. In that moment, if that makes sense,
it does. It does. Did you find yourself on an examination table?
No, because they couldn't get me there. Because basically, before they even got anywhere near me, I was just floating upwards. I just got so angry, and my entire being just went, no, not again, no, go away. And I swore at them, and all of a sudden, boom, they packed up. I could hear them packing up, mm-hmm. and boom, gone, they're gone.
Well, had you had a remembrance, though, come back to you of the other times that they actually did take you?
No, I didn't. Okay. But at that point, it was, for me, that was confirmation, because I'd already then been shown synchronistically through my own searching online and through meeting people in my day-to-day life. I'd already kind of caught on, okay, I'd been abducted.
Right.
And but that was just the ultimate confirmation. It was almost like it had to happen so that I could just go, oh, yeah, definitely. Right. That was it.
Now, I had a radio show with Rich West about contracts, and Rich said that everything in our life happens because of a contractual reason, whether it's an implied contract or a signed contract. And some people, before they incarnated, were kind of tricked into making these contracts. And some of those contracts could include being part of the hybrid program for some of the races of the gray races and some of the other races that were wanting to breed new races of humans with their race. And so part of the work that I do as a holistic life coach is talking about contracts and the power of standing in you did it verbally. You basically said no more, and we have free will, and they must honor our free will. But then, if they continue to come back, then you could do a little bit of work on, even if you say no, if they continue to come back and try, basically do a little work and just make up a little contract revocation for any kind of contract that you made.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, the contract thing I did, especially in the beginning when I had all these deceased souls were trying to attach them, or they did attach themselves to me. That was very hard because it made me physically so ill, and it was just incredibly draining on my entire being. And that went on for quite a number of months, and I was just like, God, help me. I can't carry on doing this. And eventually I just started breaking these contracts, and that's when it stopped. So I fully, totally and utterly believe in that.
Okay,
And
awesome.
it's definitely a huge part of this healing work. And I did also then consciously go in and break all contracts that I'd made with the Greys or any other beings. And I did that, I think, before that second or that abduction scene where they tried to abduct me.
Now, let me address the deceased souls just real quick. We can break a contract for them, but what they're doing is they are using our energy because they are not connected. They're vibrating at such a low rate, and they're earthbound. They're in that lower astral realm, but they're also connected to the planet. They didn't want to move on yet. And so they had to have some kind of energy to exist. But what you can learn to do with the deceased souls jumping on you and basically feeding on you is you can actually give them the opportunity to go back to source through providing a stargate for them.
Yeah, I did do that.
Okay, good. Yes, and so I just wanted to explain that to the audience as to you can probably talk to Louisa about doing that. I did it with a pendulum. I didn't have them actually attached to me, but they were around me, and I had a conversation with my stepfather who had just passed when I started learning how to use the pendulum, and I would have a conversation with him and ask him questions, and telepathically I would receive little hints or answers that ended up turning into my next question and get a yes, like a confirmation. And there was just all these people around, and so I was talking to them, and then I asked, I don't know how intuitively I knew, but I just asked them if they'd like to go back to source, and then I did it one by one. Would someone else like to step up? And I would get a big yes. Okay, well, step up, and now the angels are here, and the helpers are here, and do you see them? And I'd get a yes. Okay, you can go with them now. And then I'd get a big circle, and then I'd go, okay, next. Well, then I started realizing you can do a whole bunch at once. I was doing one at a time. Then I was doing like 1,000, and I was asking my guides, did I do more than 20? Yes. Did I do more than 500? Yes. Did I send more than 1,000? Yes. So that's kind of how that worked. Of course, anybody else.
Yeah, eventually you've got to break those contracts of trying to help them to pass over, because it was so. That's where I found myself anyway. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just exhausting.
Well, what I find is that when you reestablish your connection, never-ending connection to source energy, don't allow them to take your energy. You're basically providing the portal where they're not going to take your energy anymore, and they can go. So, but at that time, you're right. I was drained after doing these sessions with my pendulum, and I thought I was like, man, people would think I'm out of my mind, if I would have told them anything like that. Anyway, let's move on to these implants. And so, tell us how if you're there yet, tell us how you started neutralizing these things.
Well, first of all, what was very interesting with the implants was that because I was now heavily implanted, I got an inside view of how these implants work. And because the vibration was actually quite high, I could feel, I knew the difference between my own thoughts and their thoughts. So it was really interesting because, all of a sudden I was having nightmares about taking drugs. Okay, so there we go, the implants on addictions. I was having, another one. And it was very interesting for me because I could then get a very deep understanding and compassion for my grandfather. I saw that he was possessed, he was implanted, and that this was in my family. This had infiltrated our bloodline, this pedophilia, and that it was all implants. So it's very easy for me to forgive my grandfather. And I already had at that point, but it was even deeper then. I had a real, oh my goodness, poor man. I had that kind of feeling, oh my God, of deep understanding of that wounding.
This is very rampant, Louisa. I'm going to say, I'm just going to throw some numbers out there, but I'm going to say, maybe 30, 40, 50% of all children do have some type of sexual abuse, maybe even more, especially in the United States or in the Catholic Church. And I hate to blame it on religion, but a lot of the priests out there are pedophiles. I mean, that's what they do. And so it is very important what you just said. If you carry that wound with you and you do not heal it with forgiveness and understanding, that's your portal right there for them to continue to come to you in your dreams through an implant, which is simply a gateway into. It's an access point, and they can definitely steal your sexual energy through these dreams of sexual intercourse or masturbation type things.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So it's very rampant. It's a hard topic to talk about, but it's so tell the audience what to do about that.
My grandfather, just also interestingly enough, was a deacon in church. And of course there was all that heavy Christianity in my family, especially when I was younger. There was a lot of talk of this is from the devil and that's satanic, and there's a lot of fear, Yeah. So very, very interesting.
So getting rid of the fear by getting information. I mean, that's one of my main goals, is to get information to people so that they can neutralize the fear and stand in their power and release their contracts and work on their energy work through EFT, through raising your vibration and grounding and running your energy, clearing your chakras, and protecting your aura. Okay, so we've covered all of that. Okay.
Yeah, the mental body clearing is one of the most important things we can do when it comes to implants, because they mainly implanted in the mental body. That's what I find anyway with what's been going on with me in particular scenario. Because I did a Vipassana, which is a 10-day silent retreat. You do up to 10 hours of meditation a day.
Oh, I'd never make it not being able to talk.
Oh my goodness, Michelle, it is one of the most amazing experiences.
I've heard it is.
I think you'll love it. It is really, really powerful. And it was only around day 7. And it's very important to also, with this kind of meditation technique, to understand that it's not about getting anywhere, right? So I'm not trying to clear implants here. It's just you're just meditating, you're sweeping the mind, you're clearing the mind,
balancing and centering your energy.
So it's a technique like EFT, like kinesiology, like theta. It's just a very ancient technique of mind clearing, and this is why it's so incredibly powerful, and I love it. And it's just, this is why it's so important to meditate. And it was really on day 7 where the implants started just coming off me. I mean, oh my goodness, at that point I realized, okay, no one else is going to save me. I'm saving myself. This is self-realization. This is going deep within your own psyche and allowing this stuff to just come up to the surface and to drop off. And in fact, if I tried to then push them out of my body, they would grip tighter.
How about that?
So it showed me this incredible thing about control versus, because of course when you try and control something, you're coming from a place of fear. So it showed me, are you trying to control, or are you in a place of trust and faith? Because when you're in a place of trust and faith and you just there and you're just clearing that mind, it just drops off. So this was fascinating, and I've started applying this to my life, of course. You know, am I in control right now? Am I trying to control it for an outcome or for something here? Am I invested in this? Or can I just sit back and allow the universe to do its thing? And this is huge with the whole implant, because it's a controlling system. So whenever you're in the state of trying to control, you know, it could be this influence from this controlling system. So we need to get, you know, out of this control and into a place of trust and faith and unconditional love and all that's good, all those good things. So neutralizing implants, really for me, it's about raising our vibration. It's clearing our mental body, emotional body, physical body. Now, the physical body is massive. I mean, I see it in my clinic every day because I specialize with, Candida and parasites. Candida and parasites create toxins in the body, and they tend to work hand in hand with some of these implants as well.
Absolutely. They're kind of like, and I hate this word these days because it's gotten so far out of control, but they're kind of like an artificial intelligence tool that the archons have used to put them inside of our bodies so that they can be triggered and work with implants or be implants themselves. And
of course, it's perfect for them, because when you have got a lot of candida toxins or parasite toxicity in the body, your vibration is going to be low. You won't be able to feel. That's why some people who say have a really poor diet and they watch loads of, you know, telly and they're not really connected, they won't be able to feel an energetic healing like someone whose gut is clear and who's, you know, kind of on this path, if that makes sense.
Yes.
You know, so, you know, keep the masses. You know, obviously this is all about keeping the masses, you know, toxic, and you can see it in the food, you know, in the air. It's coming from all different directions. You know, what we put on our bodies and our skin, what we wash our hair with.
It's everything. The water that we drink, the fluoride.
It's everything. So when we actually go on this path of raising our vibration, really what it is we're detoxing. We're detoxing from physical toxins, emotional toxins, mental toxins. So we're clearing out the toxins. And, you know, when I left my ex-husband, my body went into a spontaneous physical detox because my body detoxed from that relationship.
Yes.
Because it had become so toxic.
Right. And you basically cut the cord, which is in every person in relationship has an energetic cord that's attached from one solar plexus to the other. So when you left, it was like, bam, you're cutting the cord, sending it back so that there's no longer that connection for energy vampirism between you two.
Yeah. And doing the soul fragments, you know, that was huge, you know, claiming that part of myself and giving him back his, you know, that part of himself. And that was such a difficult time because I just still loved him so deeply, but I just knew I had to make that move. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do and walk through.
I just want to explain to the audience what you mean by that, because, you know, you and I have that in common. You can love someone, you know, unconditionally, but if you have a partner and they don't work on themselves and they don't realize they're energy vampire and they don't realize that they're a sexual energy vampire for another creature that's sitting on their shoulder or tied into their chakra or pops in just when they have an orgasm, You just, and if it's impossible to explain to them, then that's when you pretty much have to make a decision on what's best for you.
Absolutely. And yeah, it was, I was shown so clearly. It was so clear that I had to walk away, and it was just incredibly painful, because very deep love, and it was a soulmate relationship. We'd had shared many, many lifetimes together. So when we ended, that relationship was ended, I was also shown, past life stuff that we went through together. It was really quite extraordinary.
So you fulfilled most of your contract or karma by having the marriage to begin with, and were able to, because standing in your sovereign power, you were able to just tear up any other contracts that you might have made for his growth and move along. And I mean, we were going to see them on the other side one way or another, whether it's we shift into the fifth dimensional frequency and disappear from this reality into the next, or whether we move out of the body and meet them that way. We're going to see everybody later on anyway. This is just a little stepping stone.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to the day when I think he can have a higher understanding of what's happened. That would be really nice. But I mean, one of the things that I also just want to address, because I really don't want to forget this, is that just after the awakening, what I noticed was that my ability to create and manifest just skyrocketed. Okay. And I was seeing double numbers every day, all the time. I still do. And what happened was, for instance, what I noticed was that if we have fear stuff to deal with, we'll attract it very quickly. So, in other words, if you fear rejection, you'll manifest a relationship where you get rejected. If you fear being alone, all of a sudden you'll find yourself quite alone. If you fear, whatever the fear is, it's like life will just boom, show you very quickly.
Yep.
And then you have to step up to that limitation, and breathe through it and work your way through it until you realize it's just fear. You're okay, you're still standing, you're there, and that's what courage is. It's not to avoid fear, but it's to feel the fear and to move through it. So this has been very interesting, because also since the awakening, I started attracting new types of relationships in my life. They were more karmic in their nature.
Really, what?
So,
sorry, what?
More karmic.
But what was before that? You attracted more what into your life?
Karmic relationships.
Relationships, okay.
Yeah. So relationships that would come into my life and boom, we had to clear something, or just really synchronistic. So I'd meet someone and you just have that feeling, wow, I know this person. And then there's some huge thing that you have to work your way through with that person. And then, you get this learning and move on. So this is what I found I've been going through over the last 2.5 years. So that's been very interesting. So a lot of my learning and moving through stuff, it's come up through via my relationships.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
It does. Yeah. It's a gift, actually. A relationship is a gift.
It is a gift, and it can be very difficult, because a lot of, when we're on this path of ascension, because we're changing so radically, we shift through many different relationships. I mean, I feel, and I'm not even referring to romantic relationships right now. I'm just referring to friendships and, your social groups. I mean, for me, I have shifted. I've shifted through so many friendships over the last even just 3-4 years alone. But I can see now why. And when you have an understanding of it, it gets easier to let go and to release, just to release people to go their own way and to just move forward in your new vibration.
Yes, it has to do with vibrational level. It has to do with your growing understanding of the matrix and of spirituality and metaphysical reasons why you're here and the shift of the planet. And if they don't know anything about that, it's just hard to have a conversation with somebody and to come up and to not be yourself and to be, talking about the weather. It's energy draining to do that.
Absolutely. And it can also just be, being in a relationship with someone who's in a lot of denial, and if you maybe show them that, they flip out and they can't deal with it, and maybe what happens is you get labeled or you get ridiculed or whatever it is that you need to walk through next, which is maybe to go through the fear of being ridiculed or abandoned or rejected or judged by others. And then you walk through that and you realize, okay, this is what this person came in to help me with. And it's really hard right now because I'm feeling isolated, but here's the gold and here's the learning.
Right.
So
let's get down. So you have this nice, beautiful list of things on how to neutralize your implants. We've talked about a lot of different ways. I encourage everyone to go read the articles on howtoexitthematrix.com. Just type in Louisa in the search button because you're the only one that has that name, that first name so far, and those will come up. So it included signs of implantation. We didn't really. You want to just cover some major signs of. I mean, we did talk about sexual dreams. We talked about thoughts that aren't your own, voices in your head, sounds in your head that are more like tinny, not your normal frequency, high frequency rings, that come and go. But go ahead and continue with that.
I'd say also nausea, a big one, solar plexus, having this feeling of kind of nausea in the solar plexus area, and also feeling of tightness or pressure on different body parts, and
crawling under the skin.
Oh yes, crawling, a big one, or itchy, even like a slight tingling or itchiness under the skin, and I can go quite deep into this actually, because when I released some of these implants when I was during the Vipassana, I could even smell them.
Oh wow!
They had like a burning sulfur type smell.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Because that's what happened to. Oh my goodness! Really, that's what happened to me when I have my radio shows, and I really get into when you speak your truth. You raise your vibration. There's so many ways you can raise your vibration, and that in itself will offset a lot of your physical problems, including, for me, I had 25 or 30 years of eating out, fast food type. I never was a cook, and drinking, beer or whiskey or Cokes. And, I stopped a lot of that at 40 years of age, 5 years ago. But so raising your vibration can offset a lot of that, actually, and keeping your vibration quite high by doing things that you love and doing your rituals and clearings and bringing in that source energy and reestablishing your connection with source will take care of a lot of that. So when I'm in a radio show, doing a radio show, and I'm speaking my truth, it really raises my vibration. I mean, tremendously. And in our other house, I would be in the bedroom and I would be talking and just speaking my heart and just doing what I love. And then I would smell sulfur in the bedroom. And I thought, well, is that being, or what is that? And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got so much light, I'm attracting a demon, into the next dimension. And Greg would come in the bedroom and I'd say, do you smell that? And it would go away real quick. I just wonder if that was one of my implants just sizzling up when I was speaking my truth.
Can be. And it is interesting because when I'm very open about my life, and I always have been. And I told my parents when all of this stuff was unfolding, and of course they're very Christian. So for them it's like, oh my God, these are demons. And I guess they probably are, like the way that, if you look at how Christ in the Bible described these beings as well. And, and this goes back to, that there are archontic, kind of implants, that there's, what they will refer to as the archons by the Gnostics. And so, it's an ancient, it's something that's been going on for thousands of years, because I told a friend, I had a friend over not so long ago, and I told her what had been going on with me, and she ended up in tears, and she said to me, "Do you think it's affecting us all?" And I said,
yes,
"Yeah,
it's affecting everyone."
I said, "Yeah, but it's not." It's not actually, it's been going on for a very long time. So just because you're just waking up to it now, it's not about spreading fear or getting into panic or, oh my God, this stuff's been going on since decades and decades ago.
Yes. And we have the ability to take care of it.
Absolutely. And the light always outshines and will conquer. And I'm actually still a very positive, grounded, I would say, individual. And I love life. I love nature. I love music, and I try and surround myself with all things good. And my kids make me laugh, and I play with them every day.
Yes.
This is all stuff to raise our vibration as well.
Yes.
And I think the important thing is, yes, we need to focus on the light. It's important, but we shouldn't do it at the expense of denying our true feelings. So if, for instance, yesterday morning I woke up and I felt sad about something that I was shown in a dream, and I showed that I had a little bit of grief there of a relationship I'd lost not so long ago, and my immediate response was, I just want to push this away and get on with my day. And then I thought, no, I stopped myself just right there. And I said, no, I'm feeling sad. I'm going to just lie in bed for it and feel sad. And I just, put my hands on my heart, and I just connected in with the sadness. And I told myself, I'm feeling so sad. And then I just let it be. And I felt sad for about an hour. And then after that, I felt great. And it just shifted naturally, not because I was trying to push it away or get on with my day. I allowed it to be. So sometimes we have to allow these feelings to come to the surface and just allow them. And then, then we focus our energy on the light again. Or, it's not, we don't do it at the expense of our true feelings. And those are the things we need to work through.
And gratitude for the opportunity to move that energy through. It needed to come forth and be cleared, transmuted, and it was. And Louisa, I would like to, we will continue this. I would like to take a call if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. So now we're going to go to area code 805. Welcome to the Cosmic Awakening Show. Who is this? Hello, you're live on the air. Area code 805. Who is this? You have your hand up. Hello. There's a little bit of a delay, so maybe they'll hear me saying that I'm taking their call.
Hello?
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you're live on the air. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, Michelle. My name's Peggy. I'm a Facebook friend of yours.
Hi, Peggy.
And I just related to so much that was said. My grandfather was the same, but a Southern Baptist minister. There were so many things in common, but I literally had a physical reaction and broke out into perspiration when I heard the sulfur thing.
Me too. I started sweating when I was talking about it too. Yes.
It was as if everything in my system went on alert, like, okay, busted. And wow, I'm hoping that there'll be some information where I can go to this page. Louisa, is that her name? Louisa?
Yes. My website, one of my websites is howtoexitthematrix.com.
Okay. Well, I've already seen the 32 things to do.
Okay.
Yes, and
now,
I kind of just brushed over it, but...
Louisa has a website called enlightenyourself.co, but there's not a lot about implants on there yet. But Louisa is here if you'd like to ask her a question.
Hi, Peggy.
Hi. I am just feel like we're sisters from different parents or something after hearing your story, and it just opened up and freed some things in me, especially what she said about just letting yourself feel sad, that really affected me. This program has really affected me, and I'm so happy to hear that there's been so much that's happened, and I have the same thing with the alcohol. It's been 10 years since I've had a drink, but can really drag you down into dark places. I just feel like I finally heard something that explains these monotone voices going on and some other things, unusual lump on the top of my left foot that gets this rash that comes and goes. It's phenomenal. Just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing. I'm a little dumbfounded, and that's kind of hard for me. But wow.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for calling in to express gratitude, because it's for me, to talk about this stuff, because it's all still very new. I am literally right now breaking through feelings of shame, fear of being, judged, all that kind of stuff. I'm confronting by talking about this, because it's such a taboo subject, and.
So Peggy, here you have Peggy. Here you have myself, who, I get a lot of healing out of talking about, clearing and talking about my life. I had a life coaching session with someone just recently in person, and she knew everything about me from the show, and I freaked out. I thought that was strange, because I forget that I tell all on this. So it's healing for me, and then when I have a high vibration in my voice and carry codes of healing, and other people hear them, it can help heal them as well, and we're all helping to heal each other, and that is my goal with this show. So tune in to some more shows, and you can find all of our archives on the Cosmic Awakening show on N5D's YouTube channel. Okay, Peggy?
And I want to also just say, Peggy,
okay,
I just want to say, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say to Peggy that if she wants to, she can email me or get in touch with me. I'd love to say hi.
Okay, and the email is on your page.
Yes, it's on. Go to enlightenyourself.co.
I will do that. That's very warm and welcoming. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I look forward to hearing from you.
Okay.
Thanks, Peggy. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Now, if we have another caller, I would like to remind everyone, you can call in right now. It would be a good time. Ask a question or share your experience. Area code 646-716-8890. We're going to take one more call here. And that would be area code 239, who just joined us. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Who is this, please?
I've been listening. This is Diana, but I have been listening since 5 after 8, so I didn't just join you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You just put your hand up is what I meant to say.
Okay. All right, I got you there. You are high vibrational on your stuff.
Yes.
I hear knocks more now than I ever did before. Do you hear knocks? Just like 3 taps on a door or a window or something.
You mean external? Not in your head, but like on the wall or the door, external?
No, I actually hear it. I actually hear it, and it's usually on the outside of a window or a door where nobody is.
Okay, so you're hearing them externally, like if you're sitting in the room and it's like someone's knocking a little bit on your door or the wall in your room or your house or whatever?
Well, not the wall. It's been like the window or the door outside.
Okay. And you got up and nobody's there?
Yeah, no person.
Okay, well, I'll give my assessment and what I'm feeling, and then, Louisa, you can chirp in whenever. But, Diana, I really feel like that we are on the edge or merging with the astral realm at this time. There's many reasons for that, but I know on my show with Simon Atkins, he talked about the groaning and creaking sounds that people have heard all around the world, and that is attributed to this dimension and it merging and flexing and colliding with another dimension. And so there's been a lot of reports of people seeing dead people seeing entities, orbs, light beings. Yeah, and so we're merging and colliding with a lot of different dimensions, and it could very well be that you have a trickster, or it could be a relative of yours that has passed, trying to give you get your attention.
Yeah. My relatives usually do other things like pull on my necklace or even my earlobes. So now they can do more than they used to be able to do because we're merging. So I understand that.
Louisa, did you have anything to add?
I mean, I would think if I heard that, because I haven't had that phenomena, but I think I would ask myself, is this a wake-up call? I would just start asking questions and ask your higher self to show you the way, and then look for the synchronicities, and the answer will come to you and it'll become clear.
So
okay,
well, wait a minute, let me try to understand what she says. Ask if it's a wake-up call?
Well, no, not necessarily if it's a wake-up call, but you can just ask the question, what is this about? Higher self, show me what, why am I hearing this? Why is, and then you might get the answer in a song that you hear or a conversation you overhear, and it'll just become really synchronistic, and you'll be shown what it is for you. That's how I would.
Yes, and I do hear songs. It was the wake-up call thing that confused me. Okay, I can ask what is this about, and I probably would get a song. So you read me pretty well. I just wanted to ask one more thing because I think Michelle might know about this kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm trying to stay under the radar. I got a sign in my yard by Lee County that says the grass isn't cut to their standards, and they could put a lien against the house. I mean, it's like the grass was cut 2.5 weeks ago. So I very nicely have to deal with that, staying under the radar, and more or less, because I used to be all the time back in 2000 and stuff for being awake, being bothered by little things like that. So I don't know whether to just take the sign down, ignore it, and ask the person go ahead and mow the grass early, or what, or just pretend like it didn't happen none, or whatever.
Well, we don't want to bury our heads in the sand for sure. We also don't want to get ourselves into a conflictive situation, and sometimes things like that happen because there's a little trickster jumping into the person that's in charge of giving signs out for yards and wanting to affect certain people. So what's the easiest way for you to deal with it without ignoring the situation, but without getting into conflict, is what you've got to decide for yourself. Personally, if it were me, I'd just mow the yard and let it go at this point.
Yeah,
but if it becomes something where you're being attacked every week, then I would go to the office and speak to the supervisor and jot down how many times the yard was mowed and say, we really need to figure out here what it is that I'm not doing right to your standards, because obviously something's wrong. That's what I would do.
And you know what? And this time you said trickster, and I think, you know what? I filled up a whole trash can full of weeds from pulling all around the house today before I even got the sign. So it might have just been a trickster. So I will still get the yard mowed and take the sign down and not do anything unless it happens again. Thank you. Even you give
welcome.
all kinds of advice.
Well,
thank you very much.
I mean, you're welcome. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
So I'd like to see how you're doing on time, Louisa.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay, good. We have another caller, but I want to make a comment before we get to that next caller.
Yep.
Have you found yourself raising your vibration so high that you had to come down?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
This is something that I've only talked about on one other show. I was on a dinner conference by Skype in France with Mark Gray, and we'll be releasing that in a couple of days on YouTube, where I had a conference in France, and I talked about it for the first time. I've realized, Louisa, that all I've been talking about for the last year and a half is raising your vibration, raising your vibration, raising your vibration. And when you get to a certain point where you've done your clearing, you've done your healing, you've raised your vibration, you can literally get uncomfortable by having a vibration that does not match with the earth, and find yourself, your body starts craving things that will ground you. And in my case, everybody's different, but I have to eat things like potatoes that are grown in the ground. I have to go out and ground myself literally to the planet more. I mean, I ground myself already, but even more because of my vibration, focusing on that so much and sequestering myself like the last year and a half from most people. So how did you deal with that situation?
Oh my goodness, absolutely the same thing. And to the point where if I had to, step through another spiritual awakening scenario, I don't want it to be so high and intense. I don't care for those experiences anymore. I just want to be here in my body fully, completely, and in the earth. And I have to ground myself all the time. I find walking in nature barefoot on the grass, that's the best one for me. But yes, eating root vegetables, so true. Even sometimes some grains, things like I like quinoa or some brown rice, and that kind of thing. But absolutely, I mean, the awakening experience that I had, I never really understood what it even meant to be ungrounded until I walked through that gateway, and then really felt, wow, I'm not fully in my body. I'm not really ungrounded, and it's not a nice feeling at all, is it? It's not.
Well, for me, it is. It's a nice feeling, but I know it's not what I came here to do. I came here to be fully in my body, and so usually after every show, I have to run in the kitchen and grab something to eat. It's the easiest thing because it's already nighttime. It's just the easiest thing for me to do to ground myself. So I did want to mention that tonight for all of you wonderful, hardworking people who have taken my advice on raising your vibration. I still occasionally eat organic grass-fed beef. So when I really need a grounding, when I'm really buzzing so high that I'm literally, my hands could be shaking, I will eat some meat. So I'm still listening to my body. My body can become anemic sometimes because of my just my lifestyle growing up as a child eating meat, but also with probably my bloodline or past lives of recent being either Indian or prairie or whatever, where I ate meat, and having to gradually break that. Just running to the finish line and saying, okay, I'm no longer eating meat has detrimental effects on my body, but eating it less and less and less and less and less has been very good for my body.
Yeah, I would like to make a comment on that actually, because I am vegetarian, and I since the whole awakening to the extraterrestrial deception and what they're doing to us, as in using us as an energy source and feeding off our energy, that's what, really finalized that one for me. I just couldn't, I just can't eat meat anymore because I just feel like, well, I don't want them to do that to me, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. It does. And it's something that, of course, in the fifth dimensional frequency, not only will we not eat other animals, but we won't have to eat hardly as much at all. I mean, we could just eat one meal a day, maybe an apple and some honey and some brown rice, some vegetables, some juices. Maybe we'll even have replicators to where if we wanted to, if we craved some ice cream or a hamburger, we could make it out of organic foods and then put a mask over it to make it look and taste like a hamburger or ice cream, right?
Well, I'm already doing that with, I don't know about what it's like in the States, but here you've got amazing Whole Foods, and you can buy ice cream that's made from cashew nuts and Canadian maple syrup and with the raw cacao, and it tastes even better than the Haagen-Dazs and all the other kind of ice creams that you get out there. And I love cooking. It's one of my passions, and so yeah, I'm always in the kitchen trying to make things really interesting and taste good, but I also love cooking healthily. So yeah, I'm big on all of this. And have you heard, I would like to know, have you heard of open hand? Michelle, are you still there?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I have not heard of that.
Open hand, they've written quite a number of articles, it's all circulating the internet. They're an organization in Glastonbury, and they help people go through their awakening processes. And they really helped me. Actually, I did 2 workshops with them just after I had that experience, and they were incredibly helpful. I mean, really helpful. And just to be in an environment with 2 people who really had walked this path and come through the other side, if that makes sense. And yeah, I just wanted to mention them because they're doing very good work.
Okay.
And I thought that maybe you'd spoken to them or that you knew of them.
I don't recall at this moment. And now, just want to say real quick about, I want to talk about the gut after we take this next call. And, meat does sit in the gut. Our bodies were never created to have meat in it. We just, somewhere along our evolutionary line, when we couldn't grow food anymore because we had to travel or we got booted off of our land, or whatever, it was the wanderer tribes that had to start killing meat to eat. And that was all planned out as part of the unfolding of, being able to run down to the grocery store and seeing row after row of red meat sitting there, waiting for you to purchase and keep your vibration low. So, we'll talk about how to clean the gut out after we take this next call. So let's hear from another caller. Area code 413. Thank you for joining us. Who is this?
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, my name's Olivia.
Hi, Olivia. Did you have a question for us tonight?
Yes, I do. So I just wanted to know what the difference is basically between like an implant or telepathy, because I know for me personally, I've gone through things where I've heard things externally, and now I'm in a phase where I believe that I'm connected to my spirit guides and I can hear them, you know what I mean? But sometimes it may be like a negative thought will come, but it'll like quickly be replaced by a positive thought. So I just wanted to get both of your opinions about what you think the difference between those would be.
Louisa, you can go first.
Great. Yeah, the implant, the implanted kind of thoughts or artificial intelligence is definitely carries an artificial energy, and it's a very negative, low vibration energy. and it uses your own voice as well, just to confuse things. But if you really tuned in with yourself, you'll be able to feel the difference. You'll just know, oh my goodness, that's not me.
Right.
And sometimes you'll get the implanted thoughts. They tend to come as well at night, when just as you're about to fall asleep and drift off. All of a sudden you get a thought coming in, and you just go, where did that come from? It just dropped out from nowhere. I was just falling asleep. I wasn't even thinking, Whereas telepathy or tuning in with maybe others around us, or that's going to carry a sweeter vibration, isn't it? It's going to just, even if that person is maybe coming from a more negative, stance, I would say that it's just going to carry a very different vibration, because you're going to be fully centered within your own being. It's not going to be something that's inside of you, that's trying to lower your vibration. It's more you tuning in. So, yeah, that's how I would.
Okay.
It's more feeling, I think, with telepathy as well. The heart feeling, I would say.
Right.
Whereas with the implants, it's more artificial.
Yes. So the implants would be more mental. And if you're having, first of all, we're all aspects of source. So one of the things that we have to differentiate is whose thought was that? And if it's source is perfect. So if we're having imperfect thoughts, we are still receiving either the collective human consciousness, we're tied into that and we're reading other thoughts and they're just downloading into us, or we're receiving an implanted thought. And so as you can tell, until we're in fifth dimensional consciousness, we're going to continue to have those. It's just part of the matrix that we're in. If you're literally hearing voices, like Louisa said, if it's your own voice, it's probably not you. Because, and if it's your guides, then from what I feel I feel things, and I have thought packets that unfold, and it's kind of like it's not really like I get like a word or anything. It's just, it kind of unfolds beautifully. It's a knowing. And that's the kind of communication I have with my higher being counsel and my higher self and source. And so how does it feel to you would be the only way I personally could tell you what it was, because that's my experience with it.
Right. I know... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Another thing you could do is you could stand in your sovereign power and you could declare to the universe that I do not allow any beings that do not have my highest and best interest in mind to cease communication with me and move out of my energy field.
Right. Okay.
And sometimes T.A.S.K had said that some of our guides that were assigned to us at birth did not always have our best interest in mind, and that there's even been a change of the guards with our guides to bring in guides that have better intentions for us moving towards ascension or fifth dimensional consciousness. So you might want to check just with each one of your guides and just talk to them out loud and make a declaration intention that you only will accept guidance that has your best interest in mind for your highest path and for your ascension into the fifth dimensional consciousness.
Okay. I was getting the tingles when you were saying that, because I was thinking about that a couple of days ago, and I had the feeling that some of my guides had changed. And so I definitely can relate to that.
Another thing that can happen is we can get too paranoid that our guides may or may not be good for us or whatever. We don't want to do that either. We've got to trust. After we've made our declaration and when we know we're on the right path, we get synchronicity. We get sweet messages through the internet from our guides. We get the 1111s, the numbers on the clocks when we know everything is in good and we are flowing in the universe. So don't have any doubts when that's happening. don't ruin it by doubting that you've got guide problems.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I just want to say something here as well, is that with guides, I mean, I don't even speak to guides. For me, I just speak to my higher self and go straight to source, straight to unconditional love energy, and go to what that feels like within my being. I mean, I used to call on guides and angels and things, but I think since the experience that I've gone through, it's really been a path of trusting myself above any other kind of guidance, and being aware of trickster spirits and all that kind of thing as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, for me, Olivia, my guides are usually my higher selves, my other lifetimes that are either outside of the matrix. They're connected with my soul, and they are a part. They are me in another way.
Yay!
Okay, and thank you so much for bringing that up, Louisa, because I write about that all the time, but just wanted to clarify, we shouldn't be looking outside of ourselves for answers. So when, that's the true part of going within is, asking your higher self, and, sometimes we might as well just go straight to source.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's learning. It's also learning how to trust ourselves very deeply, because we're intrinsically connected with life. So we are life. Life is not separate from us. So if we want something, life will bring it. If we want to learn something, if there's something the soul needs to learn, it will show up in your life. So knowing you're intrinsically connected to everything in life, you are life. You're not separate from life. So life will teach you, life will bring you everything you need for your awakening. All we need to do is be awake to that and trust in the process, because it will be difficult at times. And we will be faced with, our fears and darkness and all that stuff, because that's how we unravel and get to the gold of our soul. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Thank you both.
Olivia.
This is actually my first time listening or calling in to your show, so I appreciate it. It's definitely what I needed to hear.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much, and hope to see you in our in the chat room on our future shows.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Louisa, Michelle.
Okay. Good night.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay, now you are an expert, Louisa, in the gut, and I have to have my food. So I have literally not gone on like a no food fast, but I have done a slow colon cleanse with pills that I get from the health food store. I have gone on a 1 or 2 day, 1.5 day, only fruit and fruit juice fast to try to help that process. I've been sick a couple of times where I had diarrhea so bad that I know my whole colon was cleansed out, because then you get that. I don't want to be gross, but this is a gut, it's a colon conversation where you have the black water. Then the walls of your intestines are sloughing off. We tend to hold our body serves us in that it holds in toxins in the walls of our intestines, and then surrounds it with like the lining of our intestines so it doesn't harm us. And until if you keep eating stuff that keeps caking up on the walls, it doesnn't have any way to move through all the way. I use the psyllium husks in my smoothies, and I also take for the flora an Ultimate Flora 30 billion live cultures per capsule with 10 probiotic strains. So I've been doing like a long-term type thing rather than a quick fast, because I can't go without food right now. I'm just not there yet. I'm not advanced enough for that. So give me a little bit of
No, I would never.
on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would never advise fasting really to anyone who's got candida or parasites. And from what I see in my clinic, most people have, some levels of candida or parasite toxicity in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what makes this conversation very tricky is that there's no kind of set way of doing it for everyone. We're all individual. We all have different blood types. We're all unique and biochemically different. So we're all going to have a different plan to clear these toxins and to get strong physically. So what I use kinesiology because I just find it a really safe, reliable tool. And this is how I can then see. I actually have a scale in my clinic, so I can see what level, if you've got candida or parasite toxicity in the body, I can see what level it's at, and then I can monitor my clients every 4 weeks. We have a treatment and see how we eliminate the toxins. But generally speaking, what I do is for the first 4 weeks we do a detox, but the detox will be based on your diet. So we'll go through all the different food testings and see, okay, so say maybe for you, it's not great eating wheat, refined sugar, and cow's dairy. Those are probably the three major ones. And coffee tends to come up often as well, and alcohol. So then, you'd eliminate those foods only, so you can still carry on eating everything else. And then usually you would then have, you'd then take a combination of liver and blood cleansing herbs to help eliminate toxicity from the body. We need to do this first for the first 4 weeks before you can even start taking any antifungals or antiparasitic herbs, because when candida gets killed off, the cells split and create more toxins in the body, creating die-off symptoms, which is called, die-off. Now, if someone has got chronic systemic candida or parasites and they just immediately start killing off the candida, they can go into a healing crisis because there's already so many toxins in the body. And now they're taking an antifungal, and that's going to create more toxins in the body, and that's not good. So it's not easy. You see, it gets complicated. It's a complicated process, and it needs to be done right and safely. So, but my advice generally would be,
go
for
see
1
a
month,
professional.
go see a professional. But also for 1 month, cleanse out the liver, cleanse out the blood. Then continue taking those herbs such as milk thistle, dandelion root, dandelion leaf, artichoke, all these amazing liver cleansing herbs. Continue taking those herbs, and then get a good antifungal that your body agrees with. Sometimes it's oregano oil, sometimes it's Powdarco, or turmeric, whatever your body is going to feel drawn to clear the parasites and candida. And then it depends on your levels. For some people they can clear candida in 4 weeks. For others it takes 4 months. So it really depends. But what I find is I really think that this is the core issue with our health in general is the gut. It's candida and parasites. It lies at the base and at the root of all these degenerative disorders. And I see it again and again and again. And what I think happens is, it just weakens the body. It weakens the immune system. And then it goes to your body's weak point. Now, everybody has a weak spot. And that weak spot will generally be connected in with a wounding, either a genetic wounding or... So, for instance, I've got some clients who've got thyroid issues, and they've got issues with speaking their truth, and there's stuff there in the throat by the throat chakra. And then I've got some clients who will have liver issues, and they've got anger and resentment and bitterness going on in their life, and or I've had clients with bladder issues, and there's lots of fear that we need to work through. So it's just really interesting the deeper you go with this detoxing. But I would never say just go for a fast. You only fast if you're really healthy and really strong. And then fasting can be great. I mean, wow, it can be, if you couple it with meditation, it's just very powerful. But I wouldn't go there if you need to detox first.
Well, and here's another thing, with me. I may be delusional, okay, but I'm just honest. I enjoy life. Bread is one of my favorite things. I do try to eat, bread that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in it, but I do know that bread is a GMO product. And I do know I probably have, the things that you've mentioned, but I also know that with my daily light healing routine and with the salt baths that I take, Himalayan sea salt, baking soda, where I ask the salts and the soda to cleanse my organs. So I'm vibrating the water to a high love rate, and it's vibrating the water in my body and all of my organs, and doing, all these, I call them, I guess, cheat things, shortcut cheats, because I am here to experience this human, I do not have any physical ailments that are debilitating or need diseases, and I don't take any medications, and I do take turmeric and all, I do drink dandelion teas, and I do, I love the dandelion idea. So I do try to take my supplements, and I work heavily with crystals and clearings, and I get into the ocean, and I allow the Mother Earth and the salt water and the crystal sands to work on healing my body. I don't know if I'm completely clear of all that stuff. What I do know is if it's not broken, I'm not going to try to fix it. But if I did have a problem with any kind of illness, I would bet you that it would be because of the GMO wheat, what they call the wheat belly. I do have extra few pounds. There's no doubt about that is caused by the wheat belly, and that what your body does is it when you do take in this foreign genetically modified food, it surrounds that with fat to protect yourself. It works to protect you. And so, so here I am with this, could be denial, but it also could be the love of being human, and knowing that eventually my DNA will be perfected. My DNA template will be perfected. My body will be instantly healed. And if this doesn't happen in my lifetime, that I will have had a damn good time eating my tuna sandwiches and my, whatever I end up eating, and blessing my food helps a lot too. And
I don't think those things are cheats, actually. Blessing your food and having salt baths, and that's all amazing. Because what our mental body, the effect that has on our physical body is huge. So that's really clever, I think, really good that you're doing those things. And I also just again want to stress that it's really different for everyone, our health and our diets, how we're affected by foods. For me, I can't get away with eating bread because it just makes me feel terrible. So that's why I don't eat it. It's not because I don't like it, because I used to love eating bread, but I just can't eat it. My body won't allow me to eat it anymore. So it's really interesting. So it's just we're different. We respond differently, but it is good to keep checking in with yourself, and go and get a balance every now and again. Go and see either a nutritionist or a kinesiologist or someone who's got experience with all this stuff, because it is important to just keep. Because what you don't want to do is go into denial, for instance, and then in a few years' time, all of a sudden you get ill, and you're like, oh my God, what's happened?
Right. And I just wanted to let people out there know, that they don't have the money to go do this. There's so many people, that are in such financial situation right now that, truly your thoughts can control your reality. Even people who have healed themselves from cancer by having the will to survive without having the chemo or the radiation, and just saying no, and doing, maybe even just the baking soda, using baking soda or using cannabis oil, and the sure intention for the cells to be dissolved, and they can do that. So
our thoughts, it's absolutely, this is what I was taught in Theta Healing, which was very powerful training for me at that point in my unfolding was just the power of our beliefs and how illnesses can serve us, and how if we give ourselves that lesson and that teaching, that illness then will go because we don't need it anymore because it's not serving us anymore. Mm-hmm. But not all illnesses is caused by mental, emotional stuff. We do get cancers that are caused by radiation and by poor diets and stuff. So I would always say it's mind, body, and spirit. Let's not just do the mental body. Let's do all of it. Let's look at the physical, the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, because let's not leave any of it out.
Absolutely. That's what I do as a holistic life coach, and you pretty much do the same thing, but you've got these specialties that are wonderful, and I want to just thank you for sharing everything, and I encourage everybody to go to your website, enlightenyourself.co. And Louisa, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we get to the end of our show here?
I just want to say that I'm really grateful for this platform, for what you're doing, and for making this information, for making it public and for getting it out there. It's so important. And yes, there was one thing I wanted to say earlier when you were talking about gratitude, because I'm in a space of gratitude right now, and gratitude, right, is faith and trust in its purest. Because when we're in a state of gratitude, it's like we're just so grateful, right? So we're there already. We don't have to even have faith and trust. We're in that vibration already. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful vibration to be in, and that's really what I'm feeling right now. I'm so grateful for people like you and people that I've met along this journey, such as Eric. I've also been in contact with, and Lynn, and some other beautiful souls here in the UK as well. Just people doing really amazing work, and just feeling really grateful for N5D and for how to exit the matrix and all this stuff. So, thank you very much for all that you are and all that you're doing, and thank you for having me on the show. Yeah,
it's my pleasure. And so, in summary, our thoughts can neutralize the implants. Raising our vibration can neutralize the implants. When we reach a certain vibrational level, nothing can cling onto us. Nothing can hold onto us that is not in our best interest or in love, because we are source and we are returning to the vibration of source, which is pure love, and we are moving out of one reality to where we have a parasitic nature into a new reality, one of compassion, peace, and all of those wonderful terms that we want to get there, but right now we have to deal with our crap. And we have to not go overboard in having this paranoia about whether we're being messed with archons, or whether we just need to know what they are. We need to know what implants are and know why we might be feeling a certain way, and then let it go and raise our vibration and intend that we are perfectly healed and we do not have anything wrong with us. And not stick our head in the sand, and not be apathetic towards something that comes up, where we go ahead and we address every emotional issue and we feel and we allow. And I think that's a good summary for our show, don't you?
Absolutely. It's knowing when to do the work and when to back off, if that makes sense. So understanding and tuning in with yourself. Where do you need determination in your life to change things? And when do you need to just allow the universe to take over? And that's a real gift in itself, a learning and an important one to master, I feel.
And I'm proud of you for coming out of the closet on the implant thing and for speaking on the radio. I mean, you're such a natural, and your energy is so calm and balanced, and it just shows that you've done the work on yourself first, so that then you can truly serve in your highest capacity for other people. So thank you for your service to this planet.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
And so thanks for joining me late at night on your end from England.
It's almost 3 a.m.
Yes, I appreciate it. It's just one night out of, your year, and I encourage you to continue to write articles, and if anybody needs to get in contact with you, they can find you on your website, enlightenyourself.co.
Yes,
and
please.
Good evening, Louisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And so if you stay tuned to N5D, to the Facebook page, you can get the latest information about the Cosmic Awakening show and about more shows like this, as well as be sure to like my Cosmic Awakening show Facebook page, so that way you get those notifications on your Facebook wall. And you can book a personal holistic life coaching session with me on my website, michellewalling.com. Now, next week's guest is Arcturian walk-in Marie Peterson. Now, this ought to be cosmic, folks. We're going to talk about a lot of things. But until then, keep looking up to the sky and stay centered and grounded with Mother Earth. Stay fully present in your body. And I want to give much love out there to all of the listeners live and on the recording. And thank you, everybody, for joining me in the chat room. Good night.